Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was Zootopia 2, making $14 million this weekend, bringing its domestic total to $283 million and its worldwide total to $1.2 billion. This is also the first time in 7 years where 3 of the films in the top 5 were animated. The last time this happened was coincidentally in December of 2018, where Into the Spider-Verse, The Grinch, and Ralph Breaks the Internet were all in the top 5. And despite 2 other animated movies this weekend, Zootopia's 2 is still hanging in there. It fell 43%, which is honestly a really strong hold, again, considering the competition. It just goes to show you that families still want to go check this movie out. Others also do as well. The word of mouth has just been really strong. The reception has been very positive. It should get to 300 million domestically very soon and surpass the original domestic run of the first film. Worldwide, it's already done that and then some. It surpassed the $1.2 billion milestone, just another $1 billion away from Ne Zha 2, but again, it's not like it really needs to surpass that movie or anything. We'll see how much this movie competes against another big movie that we'll discuss much later and how it'll affect this movie's worldwide totals. We'll see if they can coexist or one benefits from the other, but still, I mean, again, it's not like it really needs to put up a good fight. It's made all the money it really needs to, and honestly, considering how well it's done this weekend, it wouldn't surprise me if we see another week with this movie. Hell, I think it's gonna get a really big Christmas bump, if anything, considering how strong it's done thus far. Yeah, just another solid weekend for Zootopia 2, and it goes to show you that this is still not the end of the success train for the film. Number 4 was the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, opening with $15 million this weekend domestically. That total stays the same worldwide as it hasn't been released in any international countries yet. You're going to hear me say that a lot. This is the 3rd biggest opening in the SpongeBob franchise. It tops Sponge on the Run, which was released during COVID, but still sits behind the SpongeBob SquarePants movie and Sponge Out of Water. And it's the 9th biggest opening for an animated film this year. It topped Gabby's Dollhouse, but still sits behind Chainsaw Man, The King of Kings, Elio, The Bad Guys 2, a certain other animated film we'll discuss later, Dogman, Demon Slayer, and Zootopia 2. So I won't say this movie's in trouble just yet because, well, we'll discuss that later, but yeah, it definitely came in a bit under my expectations. I thought, given how iconic SpongeBob is as a character in the big marketing push, I thought there would be more interest and people willing to go check it out. I think this was because, one, the competition, again, 2 other animated movies competing against this, and also just the oversaturation of SpongeBob, I think may have soured some people's feelings towards a new movie. With that said, though, it is the holidays, and we've seen stranger things happen with these kids' movies that seem like they're in trouble on their first weekend, but then just explode in popularity. We saw that with Puss in Boots and Migration, and most recently Mufasa. And while I don't think it's going to be as big as Mufasa or Puss in Boots, I could see a Migration level run, as the response towards this movie has been very positive. Critics enjoy it a lot. It was at 86% last I checked on Rotten Tomatoes, and audiences also seem to be really digging it, as it got an A- on CinemaScore. Now that is concerning for a family film, yes, but for a SpongeBob movie, this is a cause for celebration, as it's the highest rating any of these movies have gotten on CinemaScore. The first one got a B+, the second one got a B, so this is good. I mean, again, it's crazy to say that, considering the reputation for CinemaScore and family movies, but hey, you gotta take the wins where you can get, and this is certainly a win for SpongeBob, and especially with the fact that I've seen a lot of SpongeBob fans not only really digging this movie, but also saying it's a vast improvement over the more recent SpongeBob films, some even saying it's their favorite of the sequels. So I think we'll see a nice solid run for this movie. Again, I don't think it's gonna explode like Mufasa did, but if it can do what Migration was able to do, I think this movie will be in good hands. So not the best opening, yes, but I don't think this is the end of the road for this movie. I think it can do pretty well. Number 3 was The Housemaid, opening with $19 million this weekend domestically. Once again, that total stays the same worldwide, no international release yet. So yeah, this pretty much met my expectations, although I thought it would do a little stronger, maybe like just barely past the $20 million milestone. But again, still doing really impressive considering the crowded weekend. I think, being a league of its own, it's not a family film, it's not a blockbuster, being a dramatic thriller, I think really helped this movie. The star power and the marketing certainly added interest, on top of being based off of a beloved book, certainly helped here as well. Yeah, just not much more to add or say here. I think just the opening really delivered. There was interest and curiosity, and people decided to go check it out, and on a budget of $35 million, it's on its way to surpass that. And I think given the holidays, it's certainly gonna double that. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about it and explaining their thoughts. However, it does seem that people are a bit more divisive on this one. Critics seem to be enjoying it all right enough. Last I checked, it was at 76 on Rotten Tomatoes, but audiences are a bit more split. It got a B on Cinema Score. Some people seem to be really enjoying the cheesiness of it all. Some people think it's pretty stupid. Apparently they changed the ending. I didn't see the movie, but people are certainly talking about it, so I'm curious to see how this movie legs out, again, considering the competition and the more mixed reception I'm seeing for it. But I think, people are talking about it, people are getting the word out, so I think that's just gonna pique more curiosity. So we will probably see some strong legs for this movie. And again, it's a league of its own. It's nothing like anything else out right now, so that might help it out right now. So yeah, a solid start for The Housemaid. We're just gonna have to see where this movie goes. Again, it's in its own lane at this point, so there's nothing really to compare it to right now. We're just gonna have to wait and see how it does. But I think it, given how many people I'm seeing talk about it, I think it should be headed in the right direction. Number 2 was David, opening with, ironically enough, $22 million this weekend domestically. Yet again, no international release, so the worldwide number stays the same. This is the aforementioned 4th biggest opening for an animated film this year. It topped The Bad Guys 2, but still sits behind Dogman, Demon Slayer, and Zootopia 2. Yeah, again, not really surprised here with how this movie did. It had a really big marketing campaign, the release close to Christmas, and the story it's telling definitely added some interest to the film, and obviously a lot of the faith-based audience went to go check it out. It is honestly impressive that this was able to top SpongeBob. I doubt anyone would expect that 4 months ago, yet here we are, and it does seem to be another solid win for Angel Studios. I think they found their niche with these biblical animated films. Certainly they just seem to really know how to market and sell these faith-based animated films, and that's all good said and done. However, there's one thing that is a bit concerning, and that is the reception for the film. It's not horrendous, but I doubt it is as strong as they were hoping for it. Critics are very mixed on this movie. Last I checked, it was at 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is definitely concerning, but audiences gave it the A on CinemaScore, which is not bad, certainly not, especially for a family film. But compared to other faith-based films, the shtick with them is that they get the A+, the golden standard, the seal of approval. King of Kings earlier this year got the A+. Even Sarah's Oil, from what I remember, got the A+ CinemaScore. So the fact that this movie missed out on that is pretty interesting. It missed the mark, and honestly says a lot about both this and SpongeBob. The fact that SpongeBob getting the A- is cause for celebration, but David is a bit underwhelming. So that's going to be interesting to see if that affects the film's legs. We'll see if it prevails. Again, I still think this is going to do gangbusters around Christmas, but then after that, we'll see where the movie goes. King of Kings got the A+, and that still fell off after Easter. We'll see if this movie suffers the same fate. But as far as its opening weekend, yeah, still a really solid, really impressive number for it to land on. It's the highest for Angel Studios. And again, it was able to top SpongeBob this weekend. Again, I don't think many people were expecting that a couple months ago. It's just going to be interesting to see how higher this movie can go given the reception. But yeah, still, it's still off to a strong start, and because we're in the holidays, anything's possible. I still think we're going to see a really solid run here. And finally, let's end the video off with the number one movie of the weekend, which was Avatar: Fire and Ash, opening with $89 million this weekend domestically and $347 million worldwide. This is the second biggest opening in the Avatar franchise. It topped the first film, but still sits behind The Way of Water. It's the second biggest worldwide opening of the year overall, topping Lilo and Stitch, a Minecraft movie, and Nudged 2, but still sitting behind Zootopia 2. And it's the 8th biggest opening of the year overall. It topped Captain America: Brave New World and How to Train Your Dragon, but it still sits behind Jurassic World Rebirth, Zootopia 2, Fantastic Four, Superman, Lilo and Stitch, Wicked for Good, and a Minecraft movie. So I'm surprised and not surprised over this opening weekend. I'm not surprised because I didn't see this movie making as much as the second one did. Again, I just think timing really helped that movie out. It added to the curiosity factor and interest with that film. Where this one coming out so shortly, I just don't think the curiosity and interest was as high as that film. But I'm also kind of surprised it didn't get that close to the second one. I thought it at least hit triple digits, but this is much more on par with the first film's opening, which really surprised me. I guess interest really wasn't there for this movie despite the big marketing push, and I think, the divisive reviews definitely hurt the film a bit as we got closer to the opening for sure. I just don't think that Avatar is the franchise where you just expect like huge blockbuster numbers, like Star Wars or superhero movies or video game movies. I definitely think it plays out much stronger throughout the holidays as opposed to one of those movies where you just see the fan rush to go and check it out, and then the numbers just keep going. This is more of a slow burn for these movies for sure. But yeah, still kind of surprised it didn't at least hit triple digits. I just guess the interest wasn't there, especially considering internationally where this thing really seemed to take off for a lot of people. It's already at 300 million worldwide. It's probably going to get to 500 million worldwide by next week. Never bet against Cameron. And speaking of that, on the domestic side of things, I think, because this is one of the only major blockbuster out right now, and it's going to be the only one until probably Project Hail Mary in March. So I think that's going to help the movie out quite a bit, and it does seem like audiences are liking this stronger than critics. Again, critics were largely mixed. It was at 68% last I checked on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences seem to be enjoying it a lot more. It got another A for the franchise, another A for James Cameron, and again, the word of mouth seems to be helping it out a bit. The actuals came in a bit higher over the estimates, so I think that's a good sign of the word of mouth. Maybe more people will just be waiting to see it closer to Christmas or after the holiday rush, if you know what I mean. So gonna be interesting to see where this movie goes. I doubt it's going to be as big as the other ones, but it should still be a massive hit. Otherwise, I still think people are curious and optimistic about returning to Pandora and seeing the Na'vi once again. Again, it was definitely a little surprising, I will admit, to see the movie not reach the high standards, but again, it's the holidays and never bet against these Avatar movies. So we'll see where this movie goes. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend is Christmas, so I just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hope you spend as much time with your loved ones and have a holly jolly Christmas all around. But I also want to say, in regards to the box office, I have honestly no idea how things are going to turn out. There's so many movies that came out this past weekend and so many other movies coming out this weekend. I honestly don't know which movies are going to decrease, increase, land in the top 5. It's going to be a big old hodgepodge of movies and people going to watch these things at the theater. So again, I have no idea. I'm expecting a lot of strong numbers, strong holds for sure, but as regards to which movies are landing in the top 5, which ones are going to stick around, I'm at a loss. Not because I don't think these movies are going to do well. It's just going to be one chaotic weekend at the movies for sure. But we'll see which movies land in the top 5 and how well the rest of the movies that are in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.